Welcome. Aren't you glad you live in that state that we just saw looking so magnificent? And I think I've done everything you just saw except the hot air balloon. So staff, next spring, let's attempt that one. I'm Kathy Hochul, absolutely delighted to be here with you this morning. Commissioner Howard Zemsky and other people I'll be introducing. But this is our very first combined tourism and craft beverage summit. We're bringing it all together here in 2016. And this is something that the governor realized the incredible potential of these industries coming together. And so today we're going to have a great conversation with the people that will be introduced briefly here shortly. But also it's about getting some more ideas for us to take forward because as you know in the state of New York under Governor Cuomo, we never rest on our laurels. We're always pushing and pushing and pushing to excel. And that is what we're so excited about. We're going to continue to grow tourism and agritourism, and we're going to do a lot more conversation about that. But right now, I would like everyone who's at the table here to introduce themselves, and then we'll get back to some more formal remarks. So I'm going to go off to my right here, and Howard Zemsky. Well, Howard Zemsky. That was a tough one.
Yeah, no, I have the honor of being President and CEO of Empire State Development and working with a fabulous group of professionals at ESD on promoting tourism.
Thank you.
Great.
Basil Sagos, Commissioner of the New York State Department of Environmental Conservation, and we own and manage about 13 or 14% of the state's land. So it's a big job, and we enjoy our outdoors for sure.
Bill Finch, Executive Director of the Thruway, and we bring people to the tourism and the craft beverages.
Vince Bradley, Chairman of the State Liquor Authority, and happy to take part in this event today.
Good morning, Governor. Good morning, everyone. I'm Brian Stratton, Director of the New York State Canal Corporation. The Canal Corporation oversees our 524-mile New York State Canal system, which includes the iconic Erie Canal, as well as the Oswego, Champlain, and Cayuga Seneca canals. The canals are a tourism economic engine for upstate New York, supporting nearly $400 million a year in tourism spending along the canal and the Canalway Trail. I am delighted to be with you this morning.
Good morning. Alan Steele. I'm the President and CEO of the Javits Center. Javits celebrated its 30th anniversary this year, and we generate about $2 billion of business tourism traffic each year to the center. Particularly important year for us because the governor announced in January that we will be expanding the building by 50%. We will begin work on that in November of this year and complete it by 2020. And we also had the opportunity to work with Richard Ball and open a Taste New York Deli. So we are not only supporting tourism, we're also giving them New York State food, wine, and beer.
Good morning, Kristen Jarnigan, and I'm proud to represent Long Island's $5.5 billion tourism industry, as long as we're throwing out billions. And we're second in New York for market share for tourism, only to New York City, and the playground of the rich and famous, as I'm sure you all know, but also the home of Teddy Roosevelt's Winter White House. Happy to be there, and thank you for recognizing tourism as the important economic generator that it is, because it's critical to our region of the state.
Good morning, Michael Prenup from Watkins Glen International. One of 23 NASCAR facilities in the country. We'd like to thank the governor and Howard and Gavin Landry and I Love New York and Whole. We couldn't do a lot of things that we couldn't do down at Watkins Glen and all the tourism that we bring into the state. So we're very proud to be a part of this group this morning, and we're just happy to keep on racing. And I'll add, we have a craft beverage a summit this weekend at the track, only featuring New York beverages, and we have the largest wine festival east of Napa Valley and voted #1 by USA Today this year. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is David Holder. I'm the president of Visit Syracuse, and I just want to thank you for allowing me to come here today and leave Syracuse where everything is ablaze in colors, from amber craft brews to orange bedazzled fans to a lot of green money being spent in Destiny USA. We're really pleased to be here. Thank you so much for what you're doing for tourism.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. Thank you for inviting me to be here. I'm Kelly Blazowski, President of Oneida County Tourism and Chair of the Central New York Vacation Region. Visitor spending topped $2.1 billion in Central New York in 2015. So we're excited to be here and move forward.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor, Commissioner Zemsky. My name is Roberta Byron Lockwood, and I'm the president of the Sullivan Catskills, part of the beautiful New York State Catskill region. Together, we promote our tremendous assets and craft beer and craft spirits as counties, regionally, and through the I Love New York program to the domestic and the international markets. And I thank you for allowing me to join you today.
Good morning, I'm Deborah Hughes. I'm the president and CEO of the National Susan B. Anthony Museum and House in Rochester, where we are thrilled in this year to be celebrating women's history and to represent a woman who was part of one of the largest nonviolent revolutions the world is still seeing.
Hello, my name is Travis Noyes. I'm with the New York Wheel. The New York Wheel is the world's largest observation wheel being built on the North Shore of Staten Island. It's a $600 million project which represents the largest private investment in Staten Island since the Verrazano Bridge, with over $400 million of those dollars being spent regionally. And one thing we have coming up next week is actually our 100-ton pedestals will be floating down the Hudson River right past Albany. And those will be the first pieces of the wheels that will come to site, so we hope everyone will look out for that. And we would like to thank the governor's office and his staff for all their support in getting this project started.
Good morning. My name is Allie Tudhill. I'm the executive director of the Long Island Wine Council. We're the trade organization that represents the 60 producers out in Long Island in the East End. So happy to be here. We have done a tremendous amount with the support of the state in driving economic growth, but also raising the reputation and the visibility of Long Island wines. So happy to be here and look forward to participating in the conversation.
Good morning. I'm Derek Grout from Golden Harvest Farms and Harvest Spirits. I'm also a board member of the New York State Distillers Guild. My family has a 200-acre apple farm in Columbia County with a retail farm market, a bakery, and a distillery. And for our farm, like many other farms in the Hudson Valley, agritourism is big business and provides us critical income to reinvest in our farms and our future. So thanks for having me.
Good morning. I'm Sonia Del Perel from Nine Pin Cider. We're very proud to be New York's first farm cidery, and we're also very proud to be New York's first cidery located in an urban district right here in Albany, New York. We are bringing agritourism to urban areas in a way that many people who may not be able to travel outside the city get a chance to see our process and understand the connection and value that we add to our local orchards.
Hi, I'm Jen Smith. I'm the executive director of the New York Cider Association, which is an organization that was created in 2015 with support from the governor's office through the Craft Beverage Marketing Grant Program. We represent the state's 75 craft cider makers and produce events throughout the state.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. I'm Nick Matt. I'm chairman and CEO of the FX Matt Brewing Company in Utica, New York. We are, I suppose, maybe the original craft brewer in New York State. We have been around for 128 years. It's not me personally, by the way, but the company has. I guess what I would like to comment on is the fact this is obviously I've been invited to this, but I have attended 3 summits for craft beverages, and if we could be as successful as what happened in those summits, this would be pretty spectacular. There have been changes in the laws in New York State that have helped craft brewers and all craft producers do well, do better in terms of being able to serve beverages and sell beverages at their facility, which for small breweries is a very important economic impact. Those changes were tremendous. And today, we have gone from a point in the 70s to where we had, I believe, 4 breweries in this state. Actually, one of them is no longer in existence, to the fact today we have 288 craft breweries in New York State, so pretty spectacular growth. And some of this is due to the kinds of things that the governor and the state have done to support craft beverages, and I think it's terrific. And I know there's some programs in the tourism area that can be wonderful too, and I'm going to let Paul speak to most of those. Thank you for inviting me.
Good morning. I'm Paul Leone, Executive Director of the New York State Brewers Association. And just to add what Nick said, when I was hired 3 years ago, there were 120 breweries in the state, and now we're nearing 300. And it's really due to the support of summits like this. So thank you for having us.
Good morning, Lieutenant Governor. My name is Jill Delaney, and I'm the President and CEO of the New York State Tourism Industry Association. We're better known as NYSTIA to many of you. We have the lofty goal of bringing together all of the tourism assets in New York State, which, being so vast, is a lot of people. So our goal is to bring together all of those to strengthen our industry through education and advocacy, programming to actually collaborate. And I feel being up here today proves that we're getting close to reaching many of our goals. So thank you.
Thank you. My name is Mark Dorm, the president of the New York State Hospitality and Tourism Association. We represent the state's lodging industry, about 1,100 members and over 200,000 rooms. And these are great summits to be at because where people need to travel to get to all these destinations, they need a place to stay. So that's a good thing for our hotel industry. So thank you for having us.
Assemblyman Bill McGee, member of the Assembly, representing Madison County, most of Otsego County, including Cooperstown and Oneonta, and part of Oneida County, including Vernon, Verona, and so on. I have been chair of the Assembly Agriculture Committee for a number of years, and certainly we have worked hard to do what we could for farming and agriculture, and this craft breweries are a good example of what can happen. So look forward to the rest of the day. Thank you, Governor.
Betty Little, I represent the 45th Senate District, a very, very beautiful part of this state. Warren, Washington, Essex, Clinton, Franklin, and parts of St. Lawrence County. A longtime member and former chairman of the Tourism Committee, and very pleased to be here and join another summit, which they've all been very beneficial, and I know this one will too.
Good morning. Thank you, Governor. It's great to be here with all of you. A lot of friendly faces here. Some really good things are happening in our state. I'm Richard Ball, Commissioner of the Department of Agriculture and Markets, and great to be with you today on behalf of nearly 36,000 farmers in our state.
Well, thank you very much. I think those of us who just watched that video come to the same conclusion, that we really, truly have a spectacular state. But unfortunately, for too long, we kept that to ourselves. If you were a New Yorker like myself, I grew up near Niagara Falls, so I was a tourist almost from birth. We always went to see one of the world's greatest attractions, and living close to the Finger Lakes, the wineries, and I traveled and camped up in Wellesley Island, up in the Adirondacks, and spent time in New York City, going to Broadway. And so I personally have enjoyed this, but unfortunately, we didn't sell ourselves to the rest of the world the way we should have all this time. And so what the governor has done is put an intense focus on trying to find ways to make all of our industries prosper. And when you think about, truly what we have here, there is no other state that compares to the vast variety of attractions, natural attractions, man-made attractions that we have here in the state of New York. Our national parks, our state parks, we are number 1 and number 3, and I'm not sure where number 2 is, but Letchworth State Park voted the number 1 state park in America. And I remember as a child jumping off the cliffs into the ravine. I'm not sure it's legal now, but I don't recommend this. And Watkins Glen, number 3, Mike, I think that that draws people to the area to enjoy the NASCAR and the resources we have there as well. Even in the wintertime, we've got, and we had this question, Howard. We said, which state has the most ski resorts in America? New York. The answer is New York. Wake up, everybody. It is a trick question. And truly, we have over 50 ski resorts. Colorado, 28. Vermont, 24. Okay, we own that space as well, and I think that's another story to get out there, that we have that now. We need a little more snow this year, but we'll get that right. We've also got some of the premier agricultural attractions particularly with our state fair, and the commission will talk about the incredible success of that state fair, how the governor realized, for decades he would have sort of took it for granted, and we never leveraged it to its full potential the way we have just recently. And we were just there a month ago with Senator Gillibrand, walking around and watching cows being milked and sampling some of the best maple cheesecake I've ever had in my life. We'll get off, I don't want to get on a tangent, but we've had record attendance, and it shows that the investments have truly paid off. In New York City, there is only one New York City. And we knew that that was really the gateway for millions of visitors coming to our state. That's great. They'll continue to come. They'll go to events at the Javits Center and go to Broadway and see how incredible it is. But how do we get them from New York City up to see the rest of the state? And that has been the challenge that the governor has put on all of you at our last 3 summits, and that we're going to continue to press forward on, because I truly believe we can continue to do more as well. So we've had tourism offices open around the globe. This makes sense. We're in Australia. We have a presence in Australia, telling people that if you come to New York State, these are some of the incredible world-class attractions you can enjoy. We've also become very strategic in how we promote our history. And perhaps I'm a little partial, but we are celebrating the 100th anniversary of women's suffrage, women's right to vote, started right here. And we all know how we're going to be showcasing the historical tourism that we have related to that. We'll make some announcements on that, but that's our path through history. Taste New York, just to have them at the thruway stops. And Bill, I stopped at thruway stops twice between here and Buffalo this morning, and it's incredible to see the transformation. There's fresh apples grown in New York State for sale at the thruway stop. I didn't need to buy any because I already have so many at home. We have so many incredible parks and beaches. I mean, think about our beaches and the investments that we've made to maintain those as well. So, you know what? We invested a lot of money, but incredibly, we are seeing a beyond expectations return on that investment, to the tune of $8 billion. Billion with a B, return in revenues to the state of New York. And there's been an economic impact over $1.2 billion. That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. And so we've had a record 234 million visitors coming to our state, 15% growth since 2011. Now think about it. If we had a governor that just kept the status quo and did not focus on elevating all the industries represented here, it probably would have stayed consistent, stayed flat. What would have changed that dynamic? But because of his efforts and the efforts of the people here, particularly from his administration, we are up 15%. And I will tell you, as someone who goes to towns large and small, that makes a difference, particularly in the smaller upstate communities. You may have 1 or 2 attractions to bring people to. We were just at the American Maple Museum in Lewis County. It's a great little county. A lot of people perhaps don't find their way there. They should go see this incredible museum, which gives you such a deep appreciation for people who are the maple producers of our state. So every community has something to showcase, but they needed a little bit extra help from the state of New York, and that's what we've done. We've also made incredible investments in the craft beverage industry. And you heard some of the numbers, you'll hear more about this, but we had to look at the laws and find out what the barriers were. Why were we not exploding? What was holding us back? And we realized New York State was the problem. We had antiquated laws on the books since Prohibition that stopped the potential for growth. Once they were gone, the governor says, make them disappear. If they don't make sense, they're gone. And that is exactly why you see this incredible growth. In 1976, I think the first year I was legally able to drink. The drinking age is much younger then. There were 10 wineries. There were 10 wineries then, and as you said, we have scored. Today there's over 400 microbreweries. Nobody even knew what a microbrewery was. I mean, you've been around a long time. We didn't call them microbreweries. Grown by 275%. And as someone who visits every little community, I have a test. I can tell if a downtown is coming back if they have a downtown brewery. That is true. That is, I go everywhere and test this out. And then when the brewery comes, the distillery comes. And then we're thinking the cidery. So you get this sense now that millennials and other people who may have written off some of these charming downtowns upstate as not being hip enough, once there's a downtown brewery and it starts with that, it changes the whole psychology of a community. And I've seen that over and over all across upstate New York. So it's got an impact that you really can't quantify, but it's very real. The cider producers, we had a great visit at Nine Pin Cidery and what's been going on over there, the growth in that as well. So As someone who's been to all 62 counties a few times in the last year and a half, I can tell you that this state is on fire. And it is because we have unique assets to showcase the rest of the world, and we've done it so successfully. And as someone who spends an enormous amount of time in airports as well, I like nothing more than walking through the terminal and seeing life-size, almost, posters showcasing the glorious beauty of upstate New York, and particularly this time of year. So the rest of the world is understanding what all of us as New Yorkers have known all along, that this is an incredible place to live, to work, and to play. With that, I'd like to introduce some of the elected officials who are here and then allow our state officials to have a few remarks. I want to acknowledge, before we get to the senator, our local elected officials. Bill Farabee's here, the chairman of Essex County. Where are you, Bill? Okay, Bill, how are you? Just saw you in Lake Placid a couple days ago. Bill Farber's here, the chairman of Hamilton County Board of Supervisors. Bill, great of you to travel here today. Kevin Lewis, the chairman of Greene County Legislature. Kevin. Mayor Michael Quill, City of Auburn. Michael, oh, you're way in the back. Whenever you think Auburn, you have to think Harriet Tubman, right, Mayor? Yes, I get it. Okay, we're working on Harriet Tubman. We'll be celebrating that as well. Mayor Mike Villa, City of Amsterdam. We just had a great event there showcasing the new walkway over the river. And Mayor Mark Blask, the City of Little Falls, is here. Okay, thank you very much. I spent a lot of time in the North Country, and the woman I'm going to introduce is synonymous with the North Country. She is everywhere, and she just wears this on her sleeves. The first time I ever snowmobiled was with Betty Little a year and a half ago. So she's out there championing the North Country. She loves her district dearly, and her work on tourism in the state capitol has really had a profound impact as a great partner of our governors. With that, I'd like to introduce North Country Senator Betty Little.
It's so great to, this is on, right? Yeah. It's so great to look out and see so many faces, so many people from my district, but so many people who are involved in tourism throughout the state and representing great areas of New York State. I'm joined today by several Assembly members, Assemblyman Bill McGee, who will speak after me, as well as Assembly Member Peter Lopez, who is here, and Assemblyman Dean Murray, also here. And my own partner representing a good share of the Adirondacks with me, our Assemblyman Dan Stack. As has been said, we certainly have had the best tourism season ever. I mean, my district tourism is the #1 business in the counties that I represent, and everyone I have talked to has just been so excited about the season that we've had. There are so many factors, that you have to consider to have a good tourism season. #1, the weather, and it couldn't have been better. At one point, I thought we were living like in California, and you get up and say, oh, another nice day. But it just went on and on. And all those things can be such a factor. There was one summer that we had rain every weekend, and I saw the CEO of one of my hospitals in the North Country, and I said, how are you? And she said, we're terrible. She said, our revenue is down. Everything's going wrong this summer. We're having an awful summer. I said, why is that? She said, there's no visitors. There's nobody out hiking. There's no one getting hurt. No one's coming to the emergency room. So it affects a lot of businesses, not just the hotels and the restaurants. But we have had a wonderful season and so much excitement with new places, new things going on. So very, very happy with our season. One of the studies that was done a few years ago by Cornell came up with the idea, as a result of what they studied, obviously, that people, when they consider where they're going on vacation, don't necessarily think, I think I'd like to vacation in Warren County, or I think I'd like to vacation in Cortland County, or something like that. They really look at regions And we have 10 regions in New York State, but we have some beautiful, beautiful regions for tourism. And the governor is really hooked onto that and has promoted us in regions all around the state. So I tell you the counties I represent, but I really represent the Lake George, Adirondack, North Country region. And those are the ways people think when they want to go on vacation. We are fortunate in the Adirondacks that the governor has vacationed there before and really likes the Adirondacks. He likes all of New York State, I'll tell him that. But I think he likes us best. So we have had these challenges, and it was something he instituted. I've been to every Adirondack challenge, started in the winter, we snowmobiled and did all that stuff, and then started a summer challenge, and just this past year, a Catskill challenge. And what these things do is really showcase the activities that we have. Our Adirondack Challenge started out with 2 or 3 sports in the winter and the summer, was mostly rafting the first time, but it has just blossomed, and every activity that's available is available to the people who come to these challenges. And every year we have new legislators who come, we have new people who come. We get new marketing, we get new news bulletins and all that kind of stuff. So it's a wonderful, wonderful thing that he started. And it really, I am sure, has been a factor in why our tourism numbers are way up in the Adirondacks. The other thing he's done is have these regional economic development councils. And those councils have been so helpful to tourism because I go way back. I've met in the legislature now 21 years, and before that on the county board. But a tourism business, a hotel, a restaurant, a motel, an activity, always had difficulty with banking and with getting money for infrastructure, for making improvements. And these regional economic development councils have given tourism a real standing for lodging, for programs, for attractions. I think the Wild Center that we have in Tupper Lake never would have gotten to where it is today without the regional economic development councils and helping that. So really, the governor has done an awful lot in infrastructure. We in the North Country, I think if you've been to Lake Placid, we have 8 bridges being redone on Route 73. And you know what? I stop at all the businesses. How's business? You know, I'm thinking they're going to tell me, oh, it's awful because of this bridge. So it's great. We've had a better summer than we've ever had. Maybe because you have to go slow, people see everything now. But so much taking place, and so many wonderful events that's been very, very helpful. And I want to tell the Lieutenant Governor, by mid-afternoon, I will have a hot air balloon ride arranged at the Adirondack Balloon Festival. It's the 3rd weekend in September, so you're already on for that. But we're here today really to celebrate the growth of tourism, and the governor has played a huge role in that. You mentioned the airport signs and posters and on the subways and on buses. Nobody ever thought of that before, I guess. But what a job that has done in attracting people to our area. So that's been one of the big things that have taken place. And you know, in the legislature, we've been very fortunate to have the support and get ideas from these summits and from tourism meetings and all of that, to have legislation that has improved the liquor authority, that has helped with the craft breweries. And under the leadership of the governor, we have done, I think, a lot, and I commend my colleagues in the legislature for supporting all of these activities. So tourism is a great, not just fun, it creates jobs, business, improves our economy. So today's a really exciting day here, and I'm glad to be here and joined by my Assemblyman, Bill McGee, who's chairman in the Assembly of the Agriculture Committee and Agritourism.
Thank you, Senator Little, and welcome everyone. As chairman of the Agriculture Committee for a number of years, I have worked to support New York's farmers and craft brewers, which has in turn helped to boost tourism across the state. This year, working with Governor Cuomo, we passed new legislation to increase opportunities for fine wineries, breweries, and cideries to sell New York-made beverages by the glass, modernizing yet another archaic law for our craft beverage producers. We continue to increase the opportunities for small businesses to showcase all they have to offer, like the great New York State Fair, which underwent a $50 million transformation this year, not only restored the fair to fair status as one of the best in the nation, it helped attract the second record number of visitors, helped to boost a record number of visitors to Central New York. One of the many upgrades and additions to the fair this year is a new Taste of New York market. The opened to the highest homegrown food beverage produced right here in New York State, with local vendors rotating each day food and beverage producers to their products in front of more than 1 million fairgoers. Governor Cuomo rightfully recognizes the importance of building upon the success of the state's growing number of tourism attractions like the New York State Fair, investing in New York's natural resources and supporting agribusinesses in every region. And even though these opportunities are all diverse, they can and do work together to grow regional economics. Farmers are growing barley and hops for their craft breweries. Apple orchards are providing fresh, delicious produce to cider makers. Potato farmers are investing in the distillery business, and the number of farm wineries is now at a record high, as you've heard from here before from others. Today, travelers from across the state globe are flocking to New York State to learn how production and truly taste New York. I look forward to today's discussion and listening to the presentations here today. Thank you, Governor.
Thank you, Assemblyman, and for your great work on behalf of the agricultural community, and thank you, Senator Little, for, again, your advocacy on behalf of the North Country and tourism all over the state. And thanks for the reminder about the Adirondack challenges. As a participant in some of the past challenges and some of the extreme sports, I can also attest that the healthcare facilities are outstanding in the North Country as well. So, that sometimes they go together depending on how skilled you are. I also want to recognize the members of the New York State Tourism Advisory Council who are in attendance today. If you could just give a stand up when your name is called. Peter Carafano. Peter here. All right, Peter. Peter, stand up, please. Recognized here. Lynn Herzog and Tom Mulroy. Thank you very much for your work as well. Have to thank a lot of individuals as well. I mean, the staff are the ones who make us look good. Is that right, Howard? That is true. We subscribe. I want to thank the EST staff, the I Love New York team and its leadership, Rich Newman and Gavin Landry and Ross Levi, for their work on this summit and tourism throughout the year, and certainly all the individuals involved with Taste New York and the initiatives out of the Commissioner Ball's shop as well, and the governor's team. And something like this takes a lot of planning and a lot of effort, a lot of people behind the curtain here who are working very hard as well. So I just want to acknowledge the incredible team of public servants that we have working to put this together. Let's give them all a round of applause. So at this point, we'd like to hear from some of our commissioners on specifically what is being done to continue to promote tourism and agritourism in the state of New York. And we will start with Howard Zemsky from Empire State Development, who is at that perfect intersection of realizing how tourism and agritourism tied closely in with economic development, because he's the economic development guru as well. So thank you, Howard.
Thank you. Thank you. Great to be with everyone. Good morning, everyone. I want to add my thanks to the ESD team, Gavin, Rich, Ross, but we also have dozens of professionals at ESD that really promote tourism, and they do a fabulous job across the state, and very proud to be associated with them. Lieutenant Governor, I want to thank you for your enthusiasm. It's infectious for the state of New York and your promotion of tourism, and the governor's really unique, extraordinary commitment to tourism from day one. and you talk about the role that tourism plays in the economy, it's the fourth leading employment sector in the state. So in and of itself, tourism is a huge economic driver. But you also have to keep in mind, when you have a state like ours that is able to have so many people around the country and around the world sample New York State, it leads to a lot of other economic development, whether it's people come to move here or decide to invest in businesses here, come here to get an education, send their children to school here. I think it's no coincidence that New York State, in addition to leading in tourism, leads in international students, leads in foreign direct investment. It's all part and parcel of that whole experience. So investing in tourism is great for the economy here in so many ways that we aren't immediately thinking of. ESD and tourism, the video captured much of what we do, but I'm just going to run through a few points in summary of some of our activities at the Division of Tourism at ESD. We do traditional advertising, as you're very familiar with, so you see us on every imaginable platform promoting New York, be it TV, radio, print, digital, out of home, but we are making an enormous number of impressions throughout the state and throughout the country to promote tourism here. We also generate earned media through press familiarization tours, where we focus on journalists in travel publications to write stories about all the tremendous assets that we have across the state. We're very focused on digital and social media, and I'm proud to say we're the first state to partner with Beautiful Destinations, which is the most followed travel site on Instagram, so you can find us there. We took a very unique approach recently. I don't know how many of you have seen our pod, but we do experiential marketing through the I Love New York pod, which is a interactive traveling visitor center, which has really been very helpful and impactful. We do a lot of social media as well, as you can see through the slide. We are active not only nationally but internationally. So we have 8 I Love New York offices across the world, in Asia, throughout Europe, Puerto Rico and China and Australia. So we're very busy promoting New York. And like I said, New York is one of the leading destinations for international visitors in America. And through our Pathways Through History, we promote heritage tourism very successfully across the state. And we market to diverse markets such as I Love New York LGBT. And we've been very successful with this diverse marketing as well. I'm proud to say the Division of Tourism works very cooperatively and collaboratively with Commissioner Ball and Ag and Markets on Taste New York, which is really their program, but we help promote it, and all the many food, beverage, and unique agricultural experiences that the state has to offer. So it's a pleasure to work with you, Commissioner Ball. I was born in Brooklyn. He won't let me near any of his cows or anything, but he's still a good guy, and he's going to tell you all about the work of Ag and Markets.
Thank you so much, Howard. And for those of you who are so fortunate to get Commissioner Quarterly, stay tuned. The next edition's got a special expose on Howard Zemsky. But on behalf of myself and also Vincent Bradley, the chair of the State Liquor Authority, I just want to take a moment to highlight some of the efforts that we've taken in New York State to help, under the governor's leadership, promote agritourism and grow the craft beverage industry. We've been focused on cutting red tape and making it easier for small businesses to operate. Both the legislature and the governor have worked together to modernize New York's laws, which in turn have helped a lot of these businesses grow and become actual tourist destinations. Our craft brewers, wineries, cideries, and distilleries are thriving, and behind that, so are the farms that are supplying them with product. Diversifying farm operations with a tourism component is just smart, and it's worked so well for our craft beverage, maple syrup, honey producers, U-pick orchards, and direct marketers. Agritourism helps New York's farmers keep their land in farming. It heightens the public's awareness of agriculture's importance and provides one more reason to visit New York State. It is a great example, I think, of connecting the dots. Targeted advertising has encouraged visitors to explore all those craft beverage industries. We had celebrity chef Bobby Flay lend his voice to a 2015 I Love New York fall tourism commercial, which was awesome, promoting craft beer, wine, and spirits destinations. I want to highlight some of the successes we've had over the last year that are working on strengthening our economy, especially upstate, and creating jobs. So let me just list those. A $50 million revitalization of the great New York State Fair. That was promoted very much by Empire State Development this summer and brought in a record number of visitors. Over 30 Taste New York locations have now opened across the state, plus new Taste New York locations at Whiteface Mountain, the Javits Convention Center, which we just cut the ribbon on here shortly, Jones Beach, and on Amtrak trains, and so many more places. And so far this year, we have generated nearly $6 million in sales for our New York producers just through the Taste New York program. And because of our efforts, the number of craft beverage manufacturers has grown 178% since 2011, which is just mind-boggling. But also, we got things to do outside. And to tell us about that, I want to introduce my friend and my colleague at the Department of Environmental Conservation, Basil Sagos.
Thank you, Commissioner, and I want to thank Lieutenant Governor. She has been an outstanding advocate for the outdoors in New York over her time here, and really grateful for all she's done. I also want to thank DEC's 3,000 staff who for 46 years have been working so hard to protect our open spaces. And without the work that they've done, not only in setting aside land, but in keeping our air and water clean, we wouldn't be able to celebrate these times right now. We wouldn't see this kind of return. So I'm very grateful for all their work. So New York, I would say, has some of the greatest natural assets in the nation. I mean, how many states have an ocean, 2 Great Lakes, 7,000 lakes, 70,000 miles of rivers, over 46 peaks over 4,000 feet. And on and on. And I think the answer to that is one. It's just New York. New York has all of that. And I can say with certainty that the governor recognized this the day he took office. We had some frankly decaying infrastructure, and the governor saw an opportunity to turn things around. Nearly 5 years later, we have probably the single greatest investment in our outdoors in 100 years. It's over $1 billion of investment in our infrastructure, and that is literally changing the way that people experience our state. You have parks around the state that for years were neglected that now are welcoming. We have trails that are in good shape. We have some of the great boat launches and fishing opportunities around the state, and it's all because of the money that's going in, so that the experience now is a good one when people come here. So DEC, I mean, we're in the midst of a multi-year campaign right now to improve access to literally hundreds of thousands of acres that had previously been almost inaccessible. So we talked about the efforts of promoting the outdoors, and it certainly starts with the governor and the lieutenant governor. But the Adirondack and Catskill Challenges have been just fantastic. Participated in those as well, and I saw the enthusiasm and the excitement that those events brought to the Adirondacks and the Catskills now. And we also did a couple of Ride the Catskills motorcycle events over the last year, which is showing other groups the great bounties of the Catskills. I really am pleased with the I Love New York ads. I mean, from our perspective, it's been a fantastic light shine on our resources. I tip my hat to you. Howard, for the great work of your team, and I Love New York, the work that you've done. At DEC, we're also doing our own promotions. We've educated 21,000 school kids on fishing, 21,000 over the last couple of years. And that's going to make future stewards of our outdoors. The more you can connect kids early on, whether it's fishing or hunting or anything else, or hiking, they become stewards of our environment over the long term. Last year we had, or this year we had actually 2 bass tournaments on Onondaga Lake. We had bass professionals from around the country, and you hear some of them talk about Onondaga Lake, which was the most polluted waterway in North America at one point, which is now the host to bass tournaments here in New York. It's a remarkable turnaround, and I'm proud to say that I came in dead last in the tournament. The results are paying off in a huge way. You just look at the numbers. We've been through a lot of the numbers today, and it really is astounding. 71 million hunting, fishing, and wildlife viewing days. That's 71 million last year. That's up 20% in 10 years. Last year, we are up on our fishing and hunting license sales, up $1.2 million. Senator Little talked about visitation in the Adirondacks being up. It's up 15% over 2011. And on Route 73, Senator, you talked about the boom in tourism on Route 73. I checked with DOT before this event here. Traffic on 73 is up 23% in 4 years. That's just one road into one of our assets. So that's just a reflection of all the good work that's going on. My colleague Rose Harvey, who's helped to lead a renaissance in state parks. Now, last year she had a record attendance level of 65 million visitors going to state parks, and that's been a record every single year since the governor's been in office. So things are trending really in the right direction. We know that our outdoors and all of our efforts on outdoor promotions is not only good for our parks, it's not only good for our environment, but it's good for people and it's good for business. So DEC and parks, we are really proud to be part of this event today. And I certainly am happy and proud to introduce my new friend, Bill Finch, who without him, we would have no access to any of our parks or any of our opportunities. So take it away, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner. Without me and the 2,000 other compatriots at the Thruway. And I want to say the most valuable thing in my wallet is my New York State fishing license. I want to thank you very much for that.
Make sure you renew it.
Oh, yeah.
We're looking.
Pretty soon I get the senior discount. So, they're not just using the Thruway. Travelers are using all of our roads and our rails and our airports to reach their vacation destinations and attractions in every corner of the great state of New York. And you can't arrive at those destinations safely and efficiently without sound infrastructure. That's why, under the leadership of Governor Cuomo, New York has the nation's most aggressive plan to invest in our infrastructure, $100 billion over the next 5 years. We're building a new airport at LaGuardia, a new Penn Station Farley complex, and of course, let's hear it for the new Tappan Zee Bridge. Of this, the governor has made a historic $27 billion commitment to our state's roads and bridges, especially in upstate. We're not only ensuring a smooth ride, but we're also investing in strategic investments to ensure the safe and efficient travel of all our tourists. Today, I want to talk about one of the signature initiatives in the transportation plan, the Upstate Airport Economic Development and Revitalization Competition. In this legislative session, Governor Cuomo proposed and secured $200 million to reimagine our upstate airports for the 21st century economy. The premise is simple. To complement growing regional economies, we need state-of-the-art gateways to global markets. Last month, Governor Cuomo announced awards for 2 of these airports. First, the Elmira Corning Regional Airport, going from this to this. Elmira Corning hadn't been renovated in more than 25 years, and under the $58 million redesign, the airport will expand its capacity by 25%, build 2 new jet bridges to handle larger aircraft, construct an additional baggage claim belt, create 300 new parking places, and build a new bar and restaurant. It's the kind of modern passenger amenities the Southern Tier deserves. Second, the Greater Rochester International Airport going from this to this. Greater Rochester's $63.4 million reimagination puts this airport on the map as a national model for travel accessibility by adding enhanced security measures, new TSA scanners, a new facade with solar canopy, color-coded navigation, and Bluetooth connectivity. Folks, I'm pleased to report we're not done, not even close. There's still $110 million to be awarded for this competitive grant program, and we're looking forward to the next round of recipients this December. Finally, I want to talk about the new component of New York's $100 billion infrastructure plan called New York's Crossings. We're implementing automatic tolling at all the MTA bridges and tunnels to reduce the traffic congestion, including the Tappan Zee, enhancing security and hardening our structures against the new normal of extreme weather. To elevate public art, we're also installing energy-efficient LED lighting on all the crossings, which will have the potential of increasing tourism and the magnificent coordinated light shows that will come with it. Here's a sneak peek at the fabulous possibilities that are sure to bring visitors to New York State from across the globe.
Well, I also want to commend our digital team who puts this incredible creative work together. And the only question I have to ask is, why would anyone live in any other state but New York when you see something like this? I mean, my heart is just bursting with pride of what we've had to offer. And not just what we've offered, but with what the future brings. So thank you for a dynamic presentation from all of our partners in state government here. I think it's just, I'm excited. You can tell I'm excited. I've got to get out there and see all this again. I got to go. At this point, though, I want to hear from our friends in the not-for-profits and in the private sector to talk about your experiences over the last couple of years, and again, to perhaps challenge us to see how we can even do more to help you, because we're going to continue having these summits. We want to look back, but most importantly, we're going to look forward. And so I'm going to call on some individuals and get some of your reflections. I also do want to acknowledge in the audience some other key partners we have in this endeavor, and that is Ted Blazer, the President and CEO of the Olympic Regional Development Authority. Ted, thank you for always showing me the best of the North Country when I'm there. And Mara Manis, the Executive Director on the Council on the Arts. Thank you for joining us, too. We really appreciate what you do for us. So let's continue the conversation, and at this point, I'm going to call on someone who's asked me to speak to her organization many times, and that is Jill Delaney, the President and CEO of the New York State Tourism Industry Association, and get some of your reflections. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and I want to say thank you to the Governor for inviting us all to be here today, and for the historic investment in tourism. We greatly appreciate that. I know I can speak for my whole industry when we say that. To say that it has been appreciated and felt by our industry is a monumental understatement. When I tell my friends that I work in tourism, they say I have like the world's most fun job, and heck yeah, it's fun, it's tourism, and why wouldn't they think that? They see me post on Facebook things like losing a go-kart race to the Lieutenant Governor down in the Catskills, or holding Lou Gehrig's bat with gloves on at Cooperstown. I have a fun job, my hard days at work, as my friends call them. But this is serious business too, and that's what they don't see and what people aren't supposed to see that are just coming here to visit our state. So I want to talk to you about the New York State tourism industry. Our association represents all facets of the industry, as I said. We represent tourism promotion agencies, destinations, even the media outlets, because we encourage collaboration amongst our members. And while collaboration is a wonderful goal to have, it's not always the easiest concept to implement, and there can be many hurdles. And the Governor's continued commitment to tourism has certainly helped us to further that goal. We've seen our vacation regions work together collectively on projects and programs to bring about greater success. One great example that I think everybody knows by now is the Haunted History Trail of New York State. And that has proven that this cross-cooperation nets a higher awareness of the New York State tourism product than simply going it alone. So collaboration, that's a big push for our organization, and I know it's something that comes straight from the governor's office. Through our partnership with I Love New York, we've witnessed Gavin Landry and his team work tirelessly toward the common goal of spreading the word about New York State. NYSTIA, our organization, is proud to support our members' work through our cooperative marketing programs to disseminate consistent collaborative messaging to attract visitors. And these efforts, funded in part by the governor's investments through Market New York, have further cemented our statewide efforts to be seen by travelers as the must-visit destination over our competitors. And I think we can all agree that it is the must-visit destination. As an industry, we certainly recognize the benefits of regional connectivity and collaboration across the state, and we're enthusiastic to see continued impact of the efforts to encourage travelers to extend their trip beyond New York City. It's a great city, it's fantastic, I love going there, but we all know there's so much more, and we're seeing the benefits of that already, and we want to continue that push north and west, and east, if you're on Long Island, Kristen. I think that many of us have the 2014 tourism data ingrained in our brains, over $100 billion in economic impact statewide, 5.4% increase in direct visitor spending. That kind of tourism data really helps us. It bolsters our desire to continue striving for greatness. And there is no resting on our laurels, as the Lieutenant Governor said earlier, here in New York State, and NYSTIA is excited about our industry's position to continue to be a strong contributor to the economic development efforts of New York State. And we thank the Governor and the Lieutenant Governor and the Economic Development team for the respect, the financial support, and the challenge. And we look forward to building on this strong foundation. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Jill. Appreciate that. At this point, we will hear from Allie Tuthill, the Executive Director of the Long Island Wine Council. And I have to tell you, if you've not visited wineries on Long Island, you're missing something spectacular, because it's not just the wineries, but the journey there, the roads that are just dotted with these really charming farmers markets. And I had to stop at every single one, which delayed me considerably in my schedule. But I can't resist. I mean, it's really an incredible experience. Some that I would say from other parts of upstate don't associate necessarily with Long Island, which you think is a very different image. So you've got an incredible opportunity to showcase what you do with the Long Island wine industry, which is just blossoming.
No, absolutely. And you're describing my everyday drive home, which usually takes me between 1 and 2 hours, depending on where I stop and what I'm buying. But no, it is a tremendous place, and we've been so fortunate to have the support of the state. The region has grown so much over the past 10 years. We contribute about $150 million in non-related wine business to our region, just by bringing awareness to the wineries, bringing visitors through our tasting rooms. We see about 1.4 million visitors to our tasting rooms annually, and that's just growing. There's been tremendous amount of success. Over the last 18 months, we've embarked on some pretty ambitious programs with the help of the state, really rebranding and refocusing the perception of our region. Now that we have the awareness, we're getting the attention from a regional standpoint, it's up to us to really elevate the perception of our product and make us a player on the world wine market. And so with the help of the state, we've been able to not only totally revitalize our website, our visual branding. We've been able to bring in consultants to help us to really fine-tune our messaging and hire PR support to help really generate a lot of earned media for us and really get educators and opinion leaders within the wine market to really start advocating not only on behalf of Long Island wines, but on New York wines as well. And one of the first, I think it's very interesting, the support of the Taste New York initiative, as well as what the state's been doing. We were very, very strategic about adding New York to our new logo. It was part of our brand revitalization Association, and Long Island Wine Council was missing just the NY insignia on our logo. And just by doing that, we instilled a pride in place and a commitment to the state and a celebration of the products of this state. And we've noticed since doing that, we've seen a huge interest in not only our products, but also the support of just wanting to buy it, wanting to participate in it, wanting to engage. So we couldn't thank you more, and we continue with the efforts this year as well.
Thank you. Thank you very much. This time we'll hear from Roberta Byron Lockwood, who's the president of the Sullivan County Visitors Association. And I had the opportunity to fly over the Catskills recently, and it's jaw-dropping gorgeous. I mean, this time of year it is spectacular. And whether you see it from the ground or from the air, you have got an amazing county and an amazing region to promote. So, Roberta?
Well, I want to thank you, Lieutenant Governor, and the Catskill region really wants to thank ESD and the governor's team, because the spotlight on our Catskill region, we can't begin to tell you how much that's done for us. It's just been tremendous. We have to start by doing thank yous all around the board here. We're going to be on the thank you train. First to the I Love New York team, Rich Newman, Gavin, and Ross. My God, you guys are with us constantly, and we can't thank you enough. The governor's team, all of the agencies. I got to be honest, we work with Ag and Market. We work with everyone out there, from the MTA team to everyone out there. They've been so gracious and making it work. And what a perfect combination. Our craft beverage, tourism, our sense of place, because that's who we are, the agricultural community in upstate New York. And it's just a perfect way to tell our story and really put forth our sense of place. Then, of course, we have our Catskill Challenge. I have to thank you for that. The spotlight on that, the fun we had, and it's just like a repeat for us over and over again. The amount of attention and excitement that's just mounting. Wait till you see what we have planned for you next year, beyond bocce. $5 million in marketing. The I Love New York commercials that have so wonderfully blended our Catskill assets and messaging into the statewide story of why you want to come to New York and who wouldn't. The out-of-home advertising with features like our zip lines and our Catskill Brewery and our Roscoe Brewery and insides of all of those properties just really kind of set the tone. If you're on the streets of New York, if you're driving down the highways, the throughways, just to be able to see that and get that sense of place, I don't know how to begin to thank you. The digital campaigns, Thrillist, promoting our history, the attractions, the taste of New York and that combination for us and what it's done, the international fam tours. It's inspired us to continue and expand upon. We've done an artisan beverage trail that we're looking to expand. And grow and put more and more with our cideries and ever-expanding breweries. Spotlights that you've shown for us with the international front. And all of these things kind of have summed up a lot of different things happening for us. You've got award-winning spirits that are coming out of our Catskill region, and I'm sure a great deal of it is because of the focus and the attention and the work that you've all done for us. Award-winning campaigns. New little developments. We have a small little development that's on the horizon called Montrain over at Adelar. We're very excited about this very small $1.7 billion investment. Thank you. We're also very excited about Varia Zen Living that'll be opening next year and a wellness center. And all this we truly do attribute to those showcases on our backyard. All of our counties really amount to a great deal of work, collaboration. We team with the state. We team with everybody that's out there to try to get the best image forward. And we thank you. And we want to see you back with us again and again. And we also have that second ride to the Catskills. And we're looking for the third and the fourth. But I won't be greedy. We're part of the Mid-Hudson Catskill regional area. We have a great team there. We collaborate with our Hudson Valley communities, and we thank you.
Thank you, Roberta, for the excitement. I still remember walking through the Woodstock Festival Museum with Robert De Niro. That was in my record. that was pretty cool. My family was jealous of that, but really Bethel Woods was spectacular too. And if you've not toured that part of the state, again, it's a must-see area, so spectacular. At this point, we'll hear from Kristen Jarnigan, who's the president and CEO of the Long Island Convention and Visitor Bureau, to discuss our state assets. Kristen?
And I'm glad you enjoy Long Island wines, as we all do. I just recently actually moved to New York, so I can give you from an outside perspective. I moved from the West Coast just about a year ago, and one of the first things I did, it was a matter of days that I'd lived here, I came to the summit. And I can tell you from someone who's been in the industry in a different region, a different part of the country, this does not happen. This is very rare that you have elected officials and support from your state at every level that not only invest in tourism, but recognize it as a real economic generator that it is. And it's so exciting that you all really get it. I was taking so many notes when I was listening to your comments, because it's refreshing and amazing, and usually from our perspective, what we have to do at a CVB level is educate constantly. And when I get to have the opportunity to meet with my local officials, like Assemblyman Murray, you can't shut us up. We talk the whole time, and we love talking about tourism because he really understands, as does the governor and the lieutenant governor. I love hearing your comments. So when I moved to Long Island, I knew Long Island was a great product, obviously. It's beautiful, but it's amazing how you don't realize that people don't know about your destination. New York is the greatest state in the world. We all know that now to live here. But outside, you can't, like you said, you can't rest on your laurels. I'll tell you a story. When I was leaving where I'd been on the West Coast, I said, I'm going to go do tourism on Long Island. And they said, what is tourism on Long Island? What do you have? I said, well, we have the Hamptons. And they said, oh my God, the Hamptons are on Long Island? And this is a true thing. I tell this to people. I just had friends visit from West Coast last week, and I told them that story. They said, we would have known that. So branding is so important because we know how great it is. But it's a wonderful, it's a product that we're selling. And what the governor has done, when I moved here, I knew Long Island was a great product. I didn't realize, I had no idea that there was going to be so much attention and investment and momentum. From $36 million investment to Jones Beach, which is an incredible facility, to, I hope you all saw our Long Island Welcome Center, which is in the hallway. The ESD team has worked tirelessly to make that not just, if anyone calls it a rest stop, I'm going to see you afterwards. It is not a rest stop. It is a welcome center, and it is not just a welcome center. It is a true point of pride for Long Island, and we could not be more proud of the representation that it provides to not just our visitors, but our locals. And when you see all this wonderful marketing that we do, it's so important that it goes beyond that. When we're selling tourism, we're not a regular industry, right? We're not selling a product. We're selling a dream. People see these beautiful images and they want to experience that. We sell memories. When you celebrate milestones in your life, whether it's honeymoons or anniversaries, what do? You travel. And when you're on when you're in your deathbed, I don't think you're thinking, oh, I love that couch or that car that I bought. You're thinking of all the things that you did and experienced. So it's so important that when people actually come and they buy into the dream that we're selling, that we deliver. And that comes from the infrastructure that he also has invested in, and the state has really focused on, the Long Island Railroad. There is so much excitement happening with the third track and the new terminal. It really makes a difference when investment happens at every level and understanding happens at every level. And these memories and dreams, they're wonderful, but they're also very lucrative. They're very lucrative memory and dreams, which is why it's such a competitive industry. And from Long Island's perspective, yes, we have a wonderful product, but we could never do what we do without the state support. You said it earlier. People don't say, I'm going to go stay at the Wyndham in this county. They say, I'm going to go to Long Island because I'm going to go to New York. It's this big picture that we all have to be under the same umbrella, and we can't do it without the state support. Another anecdote is people on Long Island will tell me, we need to promote our beaches. Long Island has the best beaches. Long Islanders are very proud of our beaches. And I said, okay, great. You know who else has really great beaches? Florida. And they spend $100 million a year promoting to the exact same customer that we promote to with $3 million. So we can't do it without having the state support and the state go in as New York and really highlight all of New York, that we can come in and leverage those dollars and those initiatives. And a couple of things that we've done to embrace the governor's vision with the help of the state recently that you mentioned about getting people from New York City around. We have a couple of different grants. One is a new New York City Plus, NYC Plus program, where for the first time ever, we're aligning Long Island as a destination in international markets with New York City. So when you think coming to New York City, the average international itinerary is 14 days. So they're going to go somewhere else. We want to keep them in New York. Let's partner with Long Island. And I know that Niagara Falls has done the same thing. And another recent promotion that actually launches October 18th is promoting Long Island Airport at JFK. A lot of people don't know that Long Island has an airport, and you're flying in on JFK. We want to promote the options to that, and that was a challenge. The Port Authority was like, "What? What are you talking?" And we were able to say, "This is the governor's initiative. The governor." I threw the governor's name out there as though we were really good friends. The governor wants this program, and they believed it because it is. It's truly getting those people, capturing the people that are here, and getting them around the state. It's so important. And we're also going through a rebrand for the Convention and Visitors Bureau for Long Island on November 2nd. Along with the momentum of the state, we are going to realign our destination, our brand, and you're all invited to our big brand launch on November 2nd at the Patchogue Theater downtown. We'll have Blue Point beer there for you, so that's how you know it's revitalized downtown. So thank you so much.
I've actually been there in Patchogue. And thank you, Kristen, for your enthusiasm. And if you have any more disaffected Californians who want to find a home, we'll certainly, I'm sure we could find a place for them. And you're right about the beaches. They are spectacular. I've spent some time. And that just reminded me, though, the only other thing I hadn't done, I thought the only thing I hadn't done was the hot air balloon. I've still been promised surfing lessons off of Jones Beach and off of Montauk, so that's going to happen next year. So great to have you as a New Yorker promoting us so well. At this point, we'll hear from Jen Smith, who's the Executive Director of the New York State Cider Association, and talk about your industry. Jen?
Yes, thank you. Thank you for having me here today, Lieutenant Governor. And, we're very grateful, as other people have observed, to both ESD and Ag and Markets. The Taste New York program has been tremendously supportive of our goals and objectives in the cider industry. And before I talk about how that has specifically been manifested, I want to mention that before agritourism was a concept that we were all familiar with, people from the cities and suburbs had their primary farm experience through pick your own apples, right? That's before this, there was this sort of fancy notion of what agritourism was. And increasingly, cider is a part of that story. And so the fostering of cidery's opening over the past 5 years in particular has allowed cider to express the unique advantage it has of being part of this beautiful agricultural experience. Cider is a product that has the advantage of being beautiful throughout its entire process, right? From the budding of the trees to the fruiting of the trees, the picking of the trees, the making of the cider. And so, cider is quite literally a way to take that experience of agritourism home with people. So it's a wonderful thing to celebrate, and it's a great time of year to be enjoying cider. I do want to speak about the support that we've seen, particularly around the craft beverage marketing grant program. We've seen in New York State a 750% growth in the number of cideries in the state in the past 5 years. That's tremendous. We are now producing 1 million gallons of cider in the state. And that's due primarily to the legislative support that we've seen, the addressing of archaic and impractical laws and the cutting of red tape that we've all talked about already. But additionally, it's through the financial support that we've received through the Craft Beverage Marketing Grant. The way that that's worked for us over the past couple of years is that the grant fostered trade familiarity, right, through the kind of tourism activities, tours to the cider making regions, and trade tasting opportunities, which resulted in a good deal of earned media, and additionally the development of kind of category evangelists, right? So cider is a relatively new craft beverage to the scene, and restaurant, retail professionals, the tastemakers in the beverage world are still developing an understanding of what cider is. we've been able to convert a lot of them to our cause, and they in turn are creating events during Cider Week, which we're now in our 6th annual Cider Week, where these distributed events allow the trusted advocates at bars, restaurants, retail shops to help educate consumers directly through dinners, tastings, classes, etc. It's been so successful over the past few years that we saw an opportunity to stage a larger scale consumer tasting. And so with the craft beverage marketing support that we had, we were able to stage a tasting event on Orchard Street in New York City, where we had about 15 of the craft cider makers in New York State sampling their products, and a general block party, farmer's market kind of rustic vibe. And we saw 5,500 visitors that day, which in the context of a one-day craft beverage activation is really quite remarkable. And with the continued support of the grant, we were able to stage that event again this year as part of Cider Week New York City. And so you're all welcome if you're in the city. It's Sunday, the 23rd from 12 to 4 on Orchard Street. And we're going to have even more cider makers participating. SLA has been very supportive in helping us get the permitting that makes it possible to navigate the hurdles of the city's street permit office. And we look forward to working with both ESD and Taste New York on Cider Week New York City 2017.
Wonderful. Thank you, Jen. And I visited some of the apple growers too, and they're so excited to have a new outlet for their products. And we're supposedly number 2 in apple production to Washington. That's right. Watch out, Washington. Yeah, we're very competitive here. We're taking down Washington too. Sorry. Deborah Hughes, who oversees one of our true gems and a real point of pride in the state of New York, and that's the National Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, which we visited many times. And we're going to get a lot more visitors to you in this next year, so I hope you're ready for it. Deborah?
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor, Commissioners. It's wonderful. We had a couple who came to our visitor center and signed in, and they were from Japan. And we said, "Oh, were you in Rochester for a business conference?" And they said, "Oh, no, we were at the Javits Center for a business conference. We had to hop on JetBlue and come see the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House." We have the capacity to draw people internationally to our cultural assets across New York State. And as you've noted, Lieutenant Governor, the only problem is that people don't know that we're here. But thanks to the governor's initiatives, thanks to the Empire State Development, thanks to the incredible work of I Love New York, we're getting that word out across the world, not just across the state and across the country. When visitors come to the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, 55% come from outside of our Finger Lakes region. And of those, 25% are coming from more than 600 miles away. We know that cultural heritage tourists come, they stay longer, and they spend more money than other tourists. We also know that we have assets in New York State that are phenomenal. We have more than 2,600 small museums and cultural sites for people to come and visit here. Many of those sites are open seasonally, and many of those sites are staffed primarily by volunteers. And so we don't have the capacity to get the word out on our own. But thanks to the amazing work through Path Through History and through I Love New York, the word is getting out about what happens. So if you come for skiing or you come for another event and the weather doesn't cooperate, you're not having a bad vacation in New York State. You're having a phenomenal experience taking advantage of our other assets that are available here. In fact, when we had people here for the American Association of State and Local History, we had 900 museum professionals here. People complained at the end of the week because they said, "We didn't get to do it all yet." We do know that New York State has amazing assets. As the governor has noted, for a long time, we've been a part of making world history and having significant events happen here. We're continuing to be a part of that movement. We love the new signage on Path Through History. When you come to learn about suffrage, that connects you with Civil War history, connects you with prison reform issues, connects you with the women's movement, with the Underground Railroad, from Frederick Douglass to Harriet Tubman to Susan B. Anthony to Elizabeth Cady Stanton to the National Park in Seneca Falls. there are threads that you just tug on, and the tapestry covers the whole state of New York. You could spend a lifetime enjoying what we have to offer here in terms of cultural heritage. I'm really proud to be a part of the New York State Suffrage Centennial Celebration Commission, and thank you so much, Senator Little, for the ways that you helped to make that commission happen and be established. We're looking forward to 2020, when the country will celebrate the 19th Amendment being passed. For the Susan B. Anthony Museum and House, it's a trifecta, because not only will we celebrate that 100-year anniversary of women getting the right to vote in this country, Susan B. Anthony will celebrate her 200th birthday, and our museum will celebrate its 75th anniversary. As we look ahead to that, we have events planned next year in 2017, because that's New York State's 100-year anniversary. We're planning a thing called a Votilla that rhymes with flotilla. We're partnering with wonderful canals organizations, and from July 17th to 22nd, we have 30 reenactors who will be floating on the Erie Canal from Seneca Falls to Rochester. We have weekend events happening on both ends of that. Seneca Falls will have convention days. Rochester is going to be celebrating Suffragist City. Already we have 19 different organizations, regional organizations that are participating in that project together. We hope that we'll be able to draw tens of thousands of visitors into the Finger Lakes region to celebrate this unique celebration of 100 years of women having the right to vote in New York State. It's thanks to the initiatives like Path Through History and I Love New York and the Suffrage Centennial Commission that we're able to bring partners together that have incredible assets, but not much in terms of resources, and bring them to the world and offer them up as significant events that people can enjoy and experience. And we are thrilled to be a part of these initiatives. Thank you.
Thank you, Deborah. Count me in on the flotilla. I like the sound of that. Staff, I'll be there next July. Also, you said there's 2,600 sites.
2,600.
I thought I was making some progress. I got a little ways to go. Okay, we have to pick the rest of those off. But thank you for your passion for what you do in celebrating our incredible history that no other state can lay claim to. And at this point, I'd like to introduce Kelly Blazowski, who's the president of Oneida County's Convention and Visitor Bureau, to talk about Market New York and some of our other tourism impacts on Central New York.
Yes, thank you very much.
Thanks, Kelly.
Is this on? Okay. Thank you for allowing me to be here this morning and share our story for Central New York, and really the results and the measurable benefits we've seen from the Market New York program. They've really been quite incredible. Brew Central was started in Central New York as a grassroots campaign in 2013. Collectively, we came together to start a program, but then the Market New York funds were made available in 2014. We were fortunate to be given an award for our program and really carry it to a new level and build capacity for a strong regional tourism marketing program to brand Central New York as America's craft brew destination. Our program includes 10 counties: Oneida, Herkimer, Montgomery, Fulton, Otsego, Schoharie, Madison, Broome, Shenango, and Onondaga. Have to read that list or I'll leave someone out. It crosses over 3 REDC regions, the Mohawk Valley, Central, and Southern Tier, and also crosses over 3 vacation regions: Central New York, the Finger Lakes, and the Capital Region. So we're not working in any silos here. Everybody collaborates. And showcasing our craft beverage industry has really brought our story full circle. It naturally complements our regional agricultural program, cnyfresh.com, which we launched a few years ago. And it also highlights our hop growing heritage and our brewing heritage that's been in the region for so long. It creates compelling connections for consumers and more meaningful visitor experiences, talking about those memories. Brew Central has afforded us new opportunities and level of exposure that we've never been able to garner for the region. 8 national marketing awards, and it's generated millions of dollars in earned media for the region and our craft beverage producers. We focused our messaging to stimulate day and overnight travel from domestic and international markets. We've aligned with I Love New York marketing and sales efforts specifically in Canada, the UK, and Germany. And we've participated with I Love New York in the support of the Brand USA cooperative marketing programs to promote Central New York on a global basis through visittheusa.com. And all this has been made possible through the Market New York funding. We could never accomplish this as a region on our own. And I'm preaching to the story when I say that tourism is economic development. I'm preaching to the choir here when I say that. Brew Central has supported our regional economic priorities, its advanced growth strategies through the promotion of our rich heritage and our brewing history. In 2015, we realized a 3.7% increase in visitors spending, topping $2.1 billion for Central New York, sustaining more than 36,000 jobs. And investments made by the state in the craft industry with the opening of Empire Farmstead in Cazenovia, expansion at Fly Creek Cider Mill in Cooperstown, and even investments in alternative energy at FX Matt Brewery in Utica have made a huge difference. And growth continues to occur in Central New York. We've seen the opening of the first cooperage since Prohibition, and more breweries, wineries, and distilleries continue to expand, with more opening in the coming months, and cideries as well. We've also been able to take a look at our efficiency in communications, and we've been able to increase that through data sharing and systems alignment with I Love New York's with ilovenewyork.com and our regional TPAs. So we're communicating better than ever, allowing us to deliver the most up-to-date and accurate information to the traveling public on a regional level and a state level and local level now. And with all this, I'd just like to say thank you for continuing to support the Market New York Fund and the state's investment in agriculture and the craft beverage industry. It's really enabled us to transform Central New York, reestablish and invigorate our identity, and create sustainable programs all through brewcentralny.com. And really, no pun intended, it's all rooted in our heritage and agriculture, and that makes it all the more gratifying to bring it full circle. So thank you for your continued support. I would like to invite you. We are going to be, brewcentralny.com is the sponsor of the beer garden at the upcoming Northeast Ski and Craft Beer Show that will be held right here at the Empire Plaza, November 4th through 6th. So you can come and meet our brewers, taste some of our product. And we can, back to the balloons, we can certainly hook you up with a balloon ride at the Hot Air Balloon and Speedy Fest in Binghamton. So,
thank you, Kelly.
Thanks so much.
I think I'm going to have a few offers there. Thank you very much. Before we go into breakout sessions, we have two more individuals from our panel we want to hear from, and one is David Holder, the president of the Syracuse Convention and Visitors Bureau, to talk about international marketing. David?
Thank you very much. I'm going to talk a little bit about the importance of state leadership and state investment. And to do that, I need to take the entire room on a journey. We're not going to go to where, we're going to go to when. The year is 2014. Everybody there? You remember what you were doing in 2014? It wasn't that long ago. 2014 was when our state invested in our Chinese offices. I Love New York China opened up, and not only did they open, they came here to our state. They did workshops. They brought tour operators and travel agents and Chinese media to introduce them to what we offer here in New York. In Syracuse, we looked at this as an opportunity. We had the expansion of Carousel Center into Destiny USA just opened. We said, well, Chinese visitors like to shop. They like to spend money. Let's take advantage of that. We have luxury outlet stores. Let's take advantage of this, and that'll be our marketplace. Little did we know that that was only the tip of the iceberg, because the Chinese marketplace, as we learned from our state's investment in the China Ready FAM tour and workshops, that our product was actually more suited around universities. In fact, 10% of the student population at Syracuse University originates out of China. Now this is very different tourism. These are visitors who are coming here for a 4-year stay, and their parents are coming overseas many times. They're not just buying a souvenir, they're buying a car. They're buying a home. They're investing heavily in our state. Because of the efforts of I Love New York and Empire State Development, the investment from the governor and the legislature, we saw a marketplace like we had never envisioned. And it opened up opportunities for craft beverages. It opened up opportunities for us to realize we can't sell Syracuse. We have to sell the entire state, starting with New York City. There is no itinerary developed that includes Syracuse that's focused on the international market that doesn't start with New York City and doesn't end in another part of the state. We then had our minds open. All right, what else can we do? Looking at 2017 as an important event, it actually marks the 200th anniversary of the start of construction on the Erie Canal. We had our friends from the New York State Canal Corporation, our friends from the Erie Canalway National Heritage Corridor. Could we do the World Canals Conference in Syracuse? Let's do it. Let's go after it. In 2014, we took a group to Milan, bid on the conference, and won it to come here in 2017 into Syracuse. And it wouldn't have happened without a great deal of help from a lot of different players all across the state. The Erie Canalway is one example of the shining diversity of this great, great state, the diversity that spread across the state because of that canal, and the diversity that continues to grow today. And not only does our state invest in going after new markets around the international platform, new markets from the conventions and the conference and sports business, it also helps us invest in diversity. I'm looking forward to what the future is going to be because, going back to 2014, we had a little project proposed in Syracuse called the Carrier Park. Now this was, Lieutenant Governor, you've been there several times. You've seen children with various levels of special needs and disabilities step up and be able to play beside other athletes that they've always wanted to play against. That park would not have, it's 100% accessible. That park would not have happened without state investment. I'm so encouraged with where this state's going. There's so much, we've been a state about social progress, and that social progress continues to happen. Where we go next is all about celebrating diversity. We embrace this in Syracuse. In fact, it's our brand message. It's all about do your thing. And we're ready to take that diversity to another level. Let's celebrate those 4 seasons because winter is coming. And in Syracuse, we say winter is coming home. You know, I love diversity. I love the investment in strategic new markets this state's making. But in summary, I love New York.
Thank you. Thank you, David. I spent 4 cold winters in Syracuse as a student at Syracuse University, but what an incredible experience. And I want to thank you for having such an expansive view of your role. You're not just a Syracuse Convention and Visitor Bureau. You really are showcasing our entire state with the acknowledgement that they have to come from somewhere. They're going to come through some point of entry that may not be Syracuse. So why not lure them up from New York or even Toronto when people come over from Toronto as well. So that's the kind of thinking and leadership I believe that I see all around this table that has really supported our efforts in such a powerful way. We will conclude our morning session with Nick Matt, the chairman and CEO of FX Matt Brewing Company, a place I've also toured many times. Nick, let's tell us what it's been like in the last few years with your industry.
Yes, thank you, Lieutenant Governor. The craft brewing industry has done very well over the last few years, as you know, and some of that is really what's going on national level, but frankly, we have caught up as a state, and we have caught up as a state because of some of the support from the governor and the state of New York. And to speak more specifically about a couple of the key things that have been done, In 2014, at the end of 2014, legislation was passed, which the governor actually sponsored, or got sponsored, but in any case, which allowed breweries to serve, not only serve, but sell pints of beer. And one of the reasons that New York State had not developed as well as other states was because when small breweries open, the economics are pretty tough. And this being able to sell the beer, and so you can make the full profit, really allows small breweries to kind of get their feet underneath them and then grow. And it was a really key piece of legislation. And we thank him for that. Also, the last year we went through the modernization, so to speak, of the State Liquor Authority laws with Commissioner Bradley headed that up. I served on that committee. It was very interesting. And again, it started at the governor's initiative to try and make it so that the state was somewhat more friendly. And we've had all sorts of farm brewery legislation, which has been very positive. And you heard the numbers. We've grown, 187% or something in the last couple of years and gone to 288 breweries. We are now the 5th state in terms of breweries. And breweries do make an economic impact. To pick up on a couple of points, the Lieutenant Governor referenced the fact that breweries come to communities and it makes a difference. And let me speak specifically to our brewery. We've been there for a long time, but over the course of a year, we probably have about 30 to 40,000 people who are actually tourists come and visit us. But then through our events and the other things we do, there are over 100,000 people who come to our brewery. And the impact that has made, particularly with one particular event, Saranac Thursdays, on our little area, is that we now have a whole street developed that is turned into a very social street with a number of bars and all, but it's also got a winery now. It's also got a distillery now, and we soon probably will have a cidery. So that's happening as a result of the activities that we as a company were doing, but it really speaks to what the economic impact can be of a brewery and breweries in an area. Speaking to tourism for a second, I just mentioned what our numbers are, but if you go to the state of New York, there's over 600 million impact in tourism, and if you take that to total economic impact, that goes to 4 billion. That makes New York State number 4, again, in the country in terms of economic impact from tourism, from craft beer. And we also have benefited from one of the tourism grants. We got Paul Leone, who heads up the New York State Brewers Guild, got a grant in the tourism grant which launched the Think New York, Drink New York campaign, which has then created a video which has got 1.5 million views, again, all promoting New York State beers and brewers. They're about to launch an app this November, which will be an integrated reward program, passport program, which will tie together breweries so that people can go and visit different ones, et cetera. And then we also just finished a Brewed in New York film, which is going to be on 13 episodes of PBS over upcoming episodes. We were one of those, but 13 other breweries were involved. And so there's a lot of things that are going on, and all of these things are happening because the support that New York State is giving and the encouragement New York State is giving for breweries and for us to get involved with tourism and promoting the industry that's going on here. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick. Great conversation, everyone. I want to thank all of you for the feedback, and I think that's what's so important for us on the government side of the room here, is to hear the impacts of decisions that are being made here in Albany, but more importantly, how they allow you to just blossom and to continue to grow. So that's inspiring to all of us, to make us want to keep forging ahead with new ideas. And speaking of new ideas, we've heard some this morning, but if you come back this afternoon, there'll be a series of announcements. We're excited about that. We'll have a couple of drum rolls to make some announcement of where we're going to head into the next year with some new initiatives. those of you who are sticking around, we hope you all do. We're going to invite you to take advantage of the next hour or so to participate in some of our breakout sessions. And I will just give some instruction on that front. We have one entitled Tourism Opportunities for Craft Beverage Manufacturers. That's taking place in meeting room number 1. Digital Initiatives, I Love New York and Beyond, will be taking place in meeting room number 4. How I Love New York Market Research Informs Tourism Marketing Efforts will be taking place in meeting room number 5. And if you show up, there'll be actually a light box lunch available. I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess that it's New York State food in your box. If it's not, let me know. And we look forward to you coming back here. They say 1:45, maybe shoot for 1:30ish, and we'll kick it off a little bit earlier, and then get all of you to a wonderful celebration at the Governor's Mansion this afternoon. Thank you very much.